Hello there, welcome to Bite-Sized Corporate Reporting. Lecture Series 10 is a two-part lecture series on IAS 41 Agriculture. Part 1 focuses on the scope and recognition criteria set out in IAS 41. IAS 41 applies to the following when they are related to agricultural activities. 1. Biological asset, that is, a living plant or animal. 2. Agricultural produce at the point of harvest. And 3. Government grants relating to biological assets measured at fair value less cost to sell. The following assets are outside the scope of IAS 41. 1. Intangible assets such as production quotas shall be accounted in accordance with IAS 38 intangible assets. 2. Bearer plants fall within the scope of IAS 16 property, plant and equipment. 3. Land used for agriculture also falls within the scope of IAS 16. This means, for example, in the case of a timber plantation, the trees will fall within the scope of IAS 41 as they are biological assets, but the land they grow on shall be accounted in accordance with IAS 16. The recognition and measurement principles of IAS 16, property, plant and equipment, was covered in Lecture Series 3. So, what is a bearer plant? Bearer plant is a living plant that is 1. Used in the production or supply of agricultural produce, explaining why it falls within the scope of IAS 16. 2. Expected to bear produce for more than one period. This explains why it's presented as non-current assets. 3. Has a remote possibility of being sold as agricultural produce except for incidental scrap sales. Examples of bearer plants include grapevines and tea bushes. However, please note, the unharvested produce growing on a bearer plant, example grapes on a grapevine, is a biological asset and as such accounted for in accordance with IAS 41. An entity shall recognize a biological asset when and only when 1. The entity controls the asset. In agricultural activity, control may be evidenced by, for example, legal ownership of cattle and branding or otherwise marking of the cattle on acquisition, birth or weaning. 2. It's probable that future economic benefit associated with the asset will flow to the entity. And 3. The fair value or cost can be measured reliably. In the second part of the lecture series, I will look at the underlying principles set out in IAS 41 Agriculture on measurement, agricultural produce, and government grants related to biological assets. Till then, thank you and have a nice day.